everybody. Shout out to everybody who watching right now, tuning in. And no further ado, we're gonna talk about today's guest, Rico Cornerio. You know, I met Rico Cornerio on Facebook. I want to say he had some of my baseball cards. We kind of talked, and and we kind of get to know each other a little bit. But then we're really gonna get to know each other a little bit more. We got to know each other a little bit yesterday as well too. But today is gonna be the day when we get to know each other and everybody get to know who he is and stuff. Like, I know a lot of people out there know who he is, but we're really gonna get in depth. I got his book and he has it on his Facebook page. But this is his book here, Rescuing Virgins. I showed this in previous episodes, but I'll show you now. Representing a lot of different Virgin Islands athletes. We have some at the back too. That are Virgin Islands athletes that some of them I didn't even know about, never heard about, didn't realize how far they made it. The impact they had on the community and everything. So that's not just the only book he has. He has more books as well too. His dad was a big part of the Virgin Islands Sports, Federation, and he been involved with a lot of different sports, boxing, baseball, and it's probably more as Rico when he comes out, he's probably going to talk about that too. But he has so much history, and I think it's so important of all the stuff we'll be talking about. When we have each episode, we always talk about, the museum and Sports Hall of Fame and stuff like that. And this is someone who has a lot of history. So, it's important, that we pay attention and we listen and we kind of learn a lot about Virgin Islands history. I think this is a very important episode for the youths them of today, present, and for the future, So it's very important, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to get a history lesson along, because I've been learning since I've created this podcast. So no further ado, we got the man of the hour, the legend, author, historian, Rico Cornerio.
Good evening, everybody. Rico Corneiro from Houston, Texas. Born and raised in St. Thomas, but now trying to help support Mamba with the podcast here, get a word out to all the great athletes we have in the Virgin Islands and just representing. With that being said, I want to take a moment to first recognize the passing of one of the Virgin Islands greats, Horace Clark. Great ambassador of the islands, great ambassador of baseball, one of the all-time greats. If you don't know, Google him and you're going to find out. Some people know how great Ozzie Smith was as a shortstop. Well, believe it or not, Horace Clark had comparable numbers when it comes to fielding as far as Ozzie Smith is concerned. And for 6 years in a row, he actually led the league in double plays and things like that. But more so than the stuff he did on the field, great father, great athlete, great all-around human being. And tonight, we want to make sure we represent him well, and other Virgin Islands athletes that want to talk a little bit about. So one of the things I promised Mamba is that I ain't gonna show up here empty-handed. So throughout the night, I'm gonna be having different little giveaways to different people that send in messages or sharing on the podcast. And one of the first things I'm gonna go ahead and share is my Horace Clark autograph. So
nice, very nice.
I'm not gonna leave you to determine the criteria for this one. I'm gonna have several other giveaways, but anybody interested in getting a Horace Clark autograph, I'm more than happy to give it to you and share with you part of my collection. So
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I got some other things to share with you. So if baseball is your thing, I have some other things in boxing, basketball, football, whatever the sport is. Trust me, we have been representing for a long time. So
Yes.
we're going to talk a little bit about them today. So a little bit about myself. Like most children in the Virgin Islands, grew up playing different sports. For me, it was baseball. I grew up right down the street from Alvin McBean Park. And just so happened, Alvin McBean himself lived right down the street from me. So it was a time in history when you could watch him play baseball with the Pirates and the Dodgers. And then in the off season, he used to come home and bring all this cool gear with him, and you actually go and play with us. So that's the kind of things that kind of blow your mind. Now that you're older and you think about it, the fact that you used to play baseball with a major leaguer, but for him, he was just playing with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that really impressed us. So, and then over the
That's impressive.
years, my father, like you were saying, were involved in a lot of different sports, and I tell people, um, I's 5'8", and I was taller than my father. So my father didn't go far in sports
Yeah.
unless you were going to be a jockey. But his passion for sports was still really, really strong. So he just had to be engaged in some way, shape, or form. So he was involved in the horse racing scene. Him and he brother Angel, they own horses and race horses all in St. Thomas, St. Croix, Puerto Rico. Um, my great uncle was one of the people that were part of the National Baseball Congress. And what I was like an organization that would go around and have different baseball events throughout the country. And they used to, come to the Virgin Islands to see if we had any talent. And lo
Yeah.
and behold, they were surprised to find the amount of talent that we actually had here. But he was one of the people that helped to get Joe Christopher, the first official Virgin Islander,
Mm.
signed to a contract with the Pirates. In reality, Valmy Thomas, who were born in Puerto Rico, never get credit for being the first Virgin Islander. And the reason was, even though his parents were from the Virgin Islands, they went to Puerto Rico because the pregnancy was like a gentle kind of situation. So they
Hmm.
had to go there to get better medical care just for him to be born and then bring him back. So early life, he said he's a Virgin Islander, and mother just went there for a medical procedure just to make sure everything was safe. So really, even though he don't get credit for being the first Virgin Islander, he is.
Yeah. Wow.
And then of all the different sports my father participated in, whether it's cockfighting and everything else under the bridge or whatever, boxing was the one that connect the mostly with him. And it was something that his passion worked well with. And he had an opportunity to work with the kids that were interested in not getting into trouble on the streets or having a hard time in school, but to get some kind of focus and some kind of a goal in mind and what I want to do with itself. So one of the things I'm going to share with you is a picture I have here. And this picture was from 1976. This gentleman
Wow.
right here is my father. The next one, 16 years old, is Julian Jackson.
Okay.
Just this
Wow.
year, he get inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. And then you keep going over, Livingston Bramble, also a former world champion boxer.
Wow.
So great boxers right here from
Yeah.
all the ages, making big thing happen.
And
Uh
that
huh. You were
that
saying
picture was taken at that was a what
like
Barfield that
Baba
was?
Stadium.
Liner Rabbit Stadium.
Like
Okay.
and that's where they used to have boxing matches. They used to bring in all kind of people like All Libod, Fighting Hunks, Easy Boy Lake. And these are people from like the 70s and stuff. My father would do promote it and have them come in. So the goal behind what the kids were doing, first of all, is to give them something to do to stay out of trouble. But then if they show aptitude towards it, then the next step would be, let's see if we could qualify this kid for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay. And just so happened, you know, Julian had that kind of talent and he was going very far. Um, then he got a number of different fights under the belt to qualify for the Olympics. He was ready to go. And then in 1980, the Russians, United States boycott the Olympics because them and the Russians weren't getting along too well and things like that. And
Yeah.
that kind of break Julian heart because he had worked for so many years to qualify for the Olympics only to have a boycott. And I bring this up because this year, summer 2020, the Olympics get shut down again, but this
Yeah.
time because of COVID. So
Cover
you
COVID.
have
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of athletes throughout the whole world that have been disappointed that didn't know at their peak in
Yes.
physical ability, and they ain't never gonna get a chance to display. Because the
Yeah.
next Olympics gonna be 4 years from now, and their
4 years. Yeah.
prime gonna be gone. You
Yeah.
know.
That's
regardless
true.
of what a sport is, that window of opportunity is very, very narrow. So with that being said, when the Olympics kind of fell through because of the boycott, then our phones start ringing at home. Um, a guy called Don King used to call our house.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So let me
Oh
tell you,
man.
he he was walking with a young boxer named Mike Tyson. That was a knockout star. We were working with him, and what was it? Customata was the
Yeah,
trainer,
yeah.
thing like
The
that.
trainer.
But eventually, Don King kind of steal him away, and Don King could see that I could sell some tickets, I could sell some pay per view with this knockout artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize this, but Mike Tyson, who everybody knows, just this destructive force, killing everybody, 76% knockout ratio. Julian Jackson, 80% knockout ratio.
80%.
80% knockout ratio.
Wow.
All right. You ain't never heard that before, right?
Nah.
All right. Okay. So Dan King, Julian Jackson. What kind of kill Julian career? And I don't want to say he had a bad career. He had an incredible career. When a
Yeah.
tough fight, he Hall of Fame and everything.
Yeah.
His fame come along the same time with Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas
Mm.
Horns, and Roberto Duran and
Duran, yeah.
Hagler. So
Marvin
what
Hagler,
happened
yep.
is all them big names, the very promotable and sellable, come along at the same time when this little man from the VI were trying to sell tickets at the same time. So at no knock at his own, he sign on to a lot of different cards and make a lot of money and things like that. But he never kind of make the Sugar Ray money, the Mike Tyson money, just because of name recognition, because he had like a whole city, pulling behind him. And this a little bit, it might be a little bit before your time, but if you remember, every time Julian had a fight, the whole VI would be on TV. They would have TVs turn on watching the fight. You know,
Mm-hmm.
only gonna last 2 or 3 rounds until Julian knocked them out. It will only last 2 or 3 rounds before Julian knocked them out. All right, that's gonna lead me to a different little giveaway I'm gonna have. This one was a little promotion for one of Julian fight. He fight on the same card with Lennox Lewis, Julio
Wow.
Chavez, and then Julian Jackson. So the three of them were the main three fights for that night. So that's another one of the giveaways we're gonna have. So if
Wow.
you're thinking about questions and you want, get nice little prizes and things like that, I tell you, I come empty-handed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm bringing something to give away
You got some valuable stuff, man. That's some man, that's amazing.
to
Wow.
get people engaged and things like that. So, make a long story short, the Olympics followed through. There's the whole thing with Don King and things like that. But my father stick with the Olympics. That was his thing. He loved the amateur athletes. He loved the whole atmosphere, the whole environment. So starting like in 1972 all the way up to 96, he would go to the Olympics as either a referee or some sort of administrator or something for the Virgin Islands. And I bring a couple things to show you because at the Olympics, everybody know about the medals that the people will win, gold, silver, bronze.
Yeah.
But for the individual athletes, it have probably 200 plus different countries being represented. And in these different countries, not everybody speak the same language. So what it'll do, matter of fact, this shirt that you're wearing here, this is one
Yeah.
of the shirts that my father wear to the Olympics with the
Mm.
Virgin Islands patch and things like that on there. But what it'll do is each athlete that'll give them probably 20 or 50 little pins with your little country on there. And then as you walking around in the Olympic Village and in the cafeteria with all the other athletes, when you see their pin, if you like it, you show them your pin. And you decide right then and there whether or not you speak the same language if you want to trade.
Yeah.
And that's how you start meeting people from all these countries and making friendships with people that you don't even speak the language. Can you imagine this? Say they're part of the basketball team. You might play on day number 6, and then on day number 12, And if you don't win, you might be done. You just did for the rest of the 2 weeks or whatever, and
Yeah,
you
that's true.
to do. So you making friends and meeting people. So real quickly, want to show you just some of the
Oh
pins.
wow.
And keep in mind, this is just some of them. I probably have another 100 or 200 pins because, like I said, my father was going every year. Was one of his favorite. This one right here. I think we were from Malaysia. It's
Malaysia.
a pin with like a white elephant, and they make out of some kind of
Okay, I
engine.
see it. Yeah.
But I know my father don't speak no Malaysian. I don't know why he tell this person to get his pin, but he tell him what you have to tell him to get.
That look like the biggest. That look like the biggest pin on there, though.
Yeah, and let me tell you, when he got his pin, he tell me people are trying to thief it from him.
Yeah, man. That pin.
It was
Yeah, that
nice.
pin look. Yeah, that pin look like them. Them type of stuff from when you go in Africa. They dig up the desert or whatever, and
Yeah,
they find
yeah.
these valuable stuff from way back in the day. That's what that look like. It
And
looks
let me
totally different than the rest. It looks so unique.
and let me tell you, every country try to outdo themselves. You know what I mean? There's some
Yeah,
countries where their pins is solid gold. You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
some of them have like valuable jewels and stuff like that in them. And then, like I say, it's just one of them things to get you to meet people from a different language, a different culture. But you guys are there for the same reason, sports. And you represent, nothing had your name on it. Everything just say Virgin Islands. You know what I
okay,
mean? So
yeah.
it's your one time to be that ultimate ambassador to the wall, you know? So those are some of the pins that you have. And then the next thing I want to show you here real quickly is some of the medals that he get. The one
Wow.
I point out to you here is this one. He get this in 1984 from Fidel Castro in Cuba.
In Cuba.
Yeah, he went there
Wow.
to, some Pan American and Central American games to help some boxers get qualified. And when they were there, to give him that medal. One of the other medals I'm going to point out for you
Yeah.
is this one, 1984 Los Angeles Olympics.
Oh wow.
Then this one in
Man.
the middle was the last one in Atlanta. Okay, but the 84 one have a funny story behind it because back then we had sent a number of athletes, and I don't remember if Bramble were in that group or whatever. Well, anyhow, um, they were staying in the dorms because they were in LA. They were staying in the UCLA college dorms. I mean, everybody was staying in the dorms, all the athletes from the United States, and including the basketball team. So this is before the dream team, but that didn't mean they didn't have big name people on that team. So one night my father calling home, and he talking to my mother on the phone, telling him, what kind of things he doing there and things like that. And then one at the time he talked to me, talked to my brother, talked to my sister on the phone. And every couple of seconds he pull away. He said, hold on, I'm almost done. I'm talking to my oldest son. And then he talked to us, and then he pull away again. He said, hold on, I'm trying to talk to my daughter. And then he come back to me. He's like, this damn Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing keep bothering me for the phone. And the thing was, back then, it had no cell phone. And because
Yeah.
I was staying in the dorms, it had like one or two cell phones down the hallway, and everybody had to share the phone, including Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing. So that was so funny how
That's a crazy
he
story.
keep brushing them off to say you have to talk to him, his wife and Ali cheering them about the Olympics. So that's my little story.
That's
Last thing on
that's
the
amazing.
Olympics is because he used to tell me all these great stories about how well the athletes are performing and stuff like that, and the whole experience. Because as a young Virgin Islander, going to the Olympics is one of them things where you have a dream, a hope to win, but honestly, you saying to yourself, this is world class competition. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so far, the Virgin Islands has won one Olympic medal. It was for sailing, a gentleman named Peter Holmberg. He's a great, great sailor. He sailed for the America's Cup yachts and all these kind of things. So trust me, he win because he deserved to win. He was the best in
Yeah.
the world at the time.
Wow.
But since then, we hadn't had anybody win any medals. But my father would always tell me how great it was going to the Olympics and stuff like that. So one of the things that he do to help get me engaged was he sent me 2 tickets to the Olympics. This was to go see You can see it right there. Wait, it says Virgin Islands
Wow.
USVI Olympic team. So they give us tickets to go to the games, and I was all set to come on out to Atlanta, hang out with my father, meet all these athletes, meet Flojo and all these kind of people. And then they had the Centennial Park bombing. And then security
Yeah.
locked down, everything got tight. My father said, nah, don't come this way, it ain't safe. So I like to tell people these are the two piece of collectible I have that I wish I didn't have. I wish I had a chance to use them, but I never did have the opportunity. But I still feel blessed that my father try to take me out there and at least share the stories with me, you know?
Wow. That's amazing, man. You still get those tickets.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a lot of memories there.
Did your
So
did your
but
dad ever did your dad ever mention what was which Olympics was his favorite?
he went to, all of them had their own thing that were
Mm,
really cool about it. You know,
yeah.
84 in Los Angeles was cool. 88 in Seoul, Korea, that was a different thing because he had never been to the Far East. Um,
Okay.
Being in Atlanta was cool to come back to America again in '96.
Yeah.
Um, he didn't, like I said, he didn't go to the one in Australia. That was 2000, just because he said the flight is 13 hours. He didn't want to go, and he said, nah, let me leave this for the young fellas. But um, he still go back to the 1980 Olympics that we boycott because he had really want to take Julian. Yeah,
Hmm.
really want Julian
Yeah.
shot. And when that fell through, it was still good to take the different athletes, and it was good to go and see and do stuff. But in his heart, that was your boy. And he wanted him to go far. So, and one of the things I want to share with you is, even though my story as far as collecting and the Olympics and stuff like that start with boxing was probably the original passion because through my father. Want to let you know Virgin Islands and boxing go way way back, you know. And when I
Uh-huh.
say way back, I talking. Let me share something with you here, real quick. This is a poster of Peter Jackson, okay,
Wow.
and that's from right around. Let me guess. 1897, approximately.
Okay, I was thinking like
Approximately
1896.
1897. This one is him in Paris, bare knuckle boxing in 1892. This is a Paris newspaper showing Peter Jackson from the
Wow.
Danish West Indies island of St. Croix. That's your Crucian representative making the front page of the newspaper. All right, now.
That's
So
amazing. Um, how many of
1890,
those how many of
huh?
those is left?
Not many. But guess what?
Wow.
I got one. That's all
That's
that matters. I got
incredible.
one. So real
That's
quick, let me tell
incredible.
you a little bit about Peter Jackson, okay? And all these names we throwing out there, people want to Google them, feel free to go ahead and do so. But Peter Jackson was born in St. Croix in 1860. And not a lot of work in St. Croix after slavery, you know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
exactly the best environment. So he went to Australia to work on the wharf and the dock unloading and think hey, you were a big, strong man. And some people see him one day and they're like, you know what, we don't know if you could fight, but if you can even fight a little bit with a physique like yours, we think you could do damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he said, all right, I'm gonna try it out. And he tried, he win, he makes some money, he try again, he win, he makes some money. And before you know it, he was an Australian champ. And then after that, they start taking him over to Europe, to London and Italy and stuff like that to fight and beat up everybody there too. So then he become the European champ. So now the only thing left to do was to take it to the United States. So,
Yeah.
and keep in mind, we're talking the late 1800s. This ain't even the year 1900 yet. This is the
Yeah.
late 1800s.
That's what's so
Come to the
incredible.
United States, and he challenged Jack Sullivan, who was the champ at the time, to a fight. And Jack Sullivan say, I refuse, I will never fight a black man. I'll never go in the ring
Wow.
with a black man. And Peter basically hounded him for like almost a year, track every place he went. Peter Jackson followed him and was, trying to get him to fight, you know what I mean? But he won't fight him no matter what. And then after a while, put it this way, in probably the year 1898, they say Peter Jackson was the most famous black person in the United States. That's how popular he was. Because
Wow.
even though the white man wouldn't fight him, he would fight other black people and knock them out.
Knock them out. Okay.
And along the way, people were like, "Why this man ain't no joke?" Maybe
Yeah.
Jack Sullivan know what he's talking about, not getting
Yeah.
in the ring with him.
Yeah. Everybody start talking about him. Yeah.
Everybody started talking about it. So,
What about
make
spreading?
a long story short, he never got a shot. You know what I mean? So, as far as he's concerned, it wasn't ever his talent or his ability that keep him. It wasn't even racism that hold him back. It was segregation. That's the entire system said black people and white people. Put it this way, it was against the law for a black person to hit a white person. And that was it.
Yeah.
So because that was the law, he wasn't gonna get into a ring to fight him.
Fight.
It ain't like he could say, okay, I gonna fight you. The law said you weren't gonna fight him, basically. You know what I mean? So, but talking about challenges that Virgin Islanders have to overcome, I'm going to transition into a couple other people that had huge challenges.
Okay.
Tim Duncan, he was a swimmer, only when the hurricane, I think he will come through and destroy the Olympic pool, he didn't have a place to swim no more. They say, well, you're pretty tall, why you don't try basketball? And lo and behold, he transitioned, try basketball. Next thing you know, you end up a Hall of Fame. Have a lady named Seba Johnson, Seba Johnson.
Seba Johnson.
She see when she was a little girl, some people skiing downhill and they were racing. And she said, Mommy, I want to do that. At 14 years old, she made the Olympic team, the Virgin Islands Winter 14. Olympic team. Yeah, she represents the Virgin Islands at 14 years old. And you believe she was getting death threats?
14 years old.
14 years
black
old.
Girl, black little girl.
At 14 years old, they say, this is not for you. And she was getting death threats at 14 years old. And you know what? She said, the hell with her, you're going to race anyway. And she raced. And they have a National African American National African American Museum that opened like 2 years ago in Washington, D.C. They have her skis and they have her outfit that she wear with a Virgin Islands patch on it in the museum.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Have a gentleman named Sugar Ray Seals. He was a boxer. He come up right around the same time as Sugar Ray Leonard, but he was Sugar Ray Seals. He was from the Virgin Islands. He win Gold Gloves and all this good stuff. He fight Marvin Hagler twice. They were supposed to have a third fight. I think one was like a draw, and then Hagler beat him one, and they were supposed to have a third fight, but then it never did happen. Okay. Make a long story short, he had a really good career, but then his eyes get damaged when he was fighting because back in the day, the gloves, the thumbs were attached like this now, and it was easy when people punch you to like accidentally, well, sometimes accidentally, sometimes intentionally, thumb you in your eye.
Yeah.
So both his eyes were damaged. And believe it or not, he had to cut his career short because of eye damage. He was legally blind. And he win 8 out of, I know when we talked yesterday, I tell you he win his last 5 fights. He actually win 8 out of his last 9 fights being legally blind. What kind of talent it take?
That's a lot of talent.
Something like that.
That's a lot of talent and feel and just that type of that 6th sense type of awareness. Yeah.
Another gentleman named Joe Aska used to play football. He was blind in one eye, completely blind, and he make it to play college football, and he make it to play for 2 years with the Oakland Raiders as a running back.
Yeah, Aska, Aska, right?
Yeah, Joe Aska.
Yeah. Okay, yep. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep. Livingston Bramble, the boxer. I show you the picture with him and Julian. Actually, Livingston was born in St. Kitts, but the night that his mother would give him birth, a hurricane was coming through and destroying the whole island. So that the next morning, when they come outside and he was actually just born, he come outside, the island was destroyed. They couldn't stay there. They had to leave.
Yeah.
Everything was mashed up. So they moved to St. Croix.
Mm.
And all his life, he always tell people, or people always tell him, you ain't supposed to be alive. You were supposed to die in a hurricane with everybody else that had perished that night. But he survived somehow. He mother gave birth, the mother was okay, and he was okay. And he went on to, like I said, become a world champion. So a
That's
number of
amazing.
different people overcome adversity. We have a lady named Anne Abernathy. She's a white lady, but
And
still a Virgin Islander. At the age of 53, she participated in her sixth Olympic Games, her sixth Winter Olympic Games. She's like it called luge. It's like a little sled you get on and slide all the way down the hill. But imagine that, 53 years old and still competing against athletes 20 years old.
That's
She was
incredible.
planning on competing in the 2020 Olympics this year in archery. She said, okay, since I ain't competitive anymore in downhill skiing, I'm gonna do archery. And she's high ranking.
In archery.
In archery.
This lady is talented, man.
Lady,
Wow.
joke.
That's
You know what I
crazy.
mean? So like I said, the talent base that the Virgin Islands has is so incredible. And I ain't talking about new talent. I talking talent throughout the ages.
Yeah, through the ages in so
So
many different sports.
and have come so much adversity. So
Yeah.
when people say, "Well, I can't make it because I ain't got right to practice," meanwhile, hater, you know what I mean? And how much you play ball? I know you hear that because I can't make it. Me ain't get no glove, me ain't get no uniform, me no shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
If you got talent, you got passion, you have everything you need. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So,
That's true.
like I said, through my collections and collectibles and things like that, that's how I kind of learn a lot of the history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and now we're going to, I guess, switch over a little bit and talk a little bit about my second passion, which is baseball. You know, growing up, like I say, McBean lived right down the street from us. I used to play ball against Elrod Hendricks kids. They had a team from St. John called the St. John Rookies that we used to play against. And then, like I say, Horace Clark, we used to see him around. My father used to take me to St. Croix to go visit Valmy at the sports shop that he had.
Yeah, up in Christianster, yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, remember Valmy Thomas Sports, yeah.
Let me tell you the power of Valmy. A lot of people just see him as this older man that used to play baseball. Valmy had pull in him. Let me tell you, in 1967, the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox play a baseball game in Lionel Roberts Stadium. In big part because Valmy asked them. Wow. Valmy, Horace Clark, who were on the Yankees at the time, Elrod Hendricks was a big player with the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
They basically say, hey, we gotta do spring training anyway. We might as well do it someplace nice. I know a nice place. Come St. Thomas. I can't even imagine how hard it would be now to get a New York Yankees. And keep in mind, we ain't talking the scrubs coming up. Mickey Mantle, Carl Yastrzemski, all the big name players were there. And they're playing the game. Imagine that. They to have these kind of people come to the VI to play.
All the legendary players.
Yeah, legendary players. Legendary
players.
That's how much pull these people had. But a lot of people just see Valmy as that man that walked down at a sporting goods shop. I could wear some inner tube for my bike and new brakes and them kind of thing. You know what I mean? But at a time, the VI were like highly, highly respected when it comes to sports and in particular baseball.
Wait, to interrupt you real quick.
No, go ahead.
Was that the first and only Major League Baseball game to happen in the Virgin Islands as far as two visited teams playing?
I think they played two games. I think they might have played one in St. Croix, but the pictures and everything that we have, like in the Daily News, really
Yeah.
highlight the one in St. Thomas at Lionel Roberts. Because that was the biggest facility, the best turnout. I think the one in St. Croix might have been even an afterthought. Like they had so much fun in the first game. Let's go ahead and do another one in St. Croix with whoever
Okay.
we had left. But the one
Yeah.
in St. Thomas was the one that was actually scheduled and planned out to be there.
Okay. Okay.
So, but yeah, people would regularly come from the States to come down and have camps and teach people different things about baseball. One year, because in St. Thomas, I used to go elementary school at a place called Tutu School. One year, Hank Aaron come. And I don't know if you remember, but Hank Aaron had finished the season, I think in 1973 or 74. He had like 713 home run. So you're only like one or two shy from Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
And he come to St. Thomas and he come to my elementary school. I hyped, I
Wow.
ready, you know what I mean? Because I'm
I
a
will
big
be.
baseball
I
fan.
will be hyped too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now they have all the kids from the school come to meet Hank Aaron, and they pick two people to talk to Hank Aaron, two children to talk to Hank Aaron and ask him question. One of them is my sister.
Wow.
First question she asked him was, how much home run he hit? And I said to myself, man, everybody know this. You know what I mean? If you play any kind of baseball, you know how much home run he hit, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is they had like, okay, you know, home runs like 400 feet,
Yeah.
right?
400 feet. Yeah.
Approximate
Yeah.
400
Three
feet, right?
thirty. Well, no, 330 down the line.
Yeah,
350.
yeah, yeah. But point
The
is to
back in the
say,
day, it was
yeah,
far.
yeah. And then some places like in Boston, you get the big green monster. You can shot, but you can hit a wall.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyhow, so that mark off how far like a home run is, right? So now when they show my sister how far home run was, she's like, nah, you ain't hit it that far. You lying. So no, she looking at her girl like he lying. And he's like, yeah, yeah, really, I could do it. I could do this, you know? And then some man hit 713 home run, finished with 755. And my sister
Yeah.
looking at him like, why this man here lying to us like this? He know better than this, you know what I mean? Cause she thinking maybe, you know, like McBean, the outfield is like probably 280,
Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
play. So it don't make no sense for somebody to hit 400 feet. But yeah, that's the kind of talent we have. Matter of fact, even Lionel Roberts Stadium. My father used to tell me about when he see Willie Mays play when he was 18 years old at Lionel Roberts. Yeah.
Man.
So this is before it had a fence in the outfield. Basically, the trees used to mark where the home run was. So if it went into the trees, or past the trees, or a home run. So first time Willie Mays come up to bat, he hit it, and the outfielder run into the trees, like a little bit into the trees, and catch it. So next time Willie Mays come up, he hit it over the trees.
Over the tree.
Over the trees. Yeah, man. So like I say,
Man.
incredible history of sports in the world. Now sports coming to us, sports going away. And yeah, I knew you from St. Croix, but for the people in St. Thomas, to give you an idea, they say when these games used to be going on at Lionel Roberts, they say sometimes you can hear people chant all the way as far as Fort Christian. And that's a way.
That's a
But you
way.
can hear people
Yeah.
chant from that far away off. And originally the Virgin Islands used to be big in cricket and things like that. So like Lionel Roberts Stadium, Lionel Roberts was more like a labor relations kind of person, union worker, civil rights kind of person. But a lot of people don't
Okay.
know he was a great cricket player. And that's one of the reasons why they named the field, Lionel Roberts Stadium, for his time as a great cricket player, not of his legislative work afterwards.
Oh, okay.
You
Oh,
know,
wow.
yeah, man. Like I say, I can remember being 8 years old, and Governor Cyril King used to come play softball down Al McBean Park. So even the governor come in and sit down and playing ball with us.
Playing
So
ball. That's cool, man.
it wasn't really a separation between the professional athlete, the politician, the average everyday person. It was just us with talent going out there doing what we do and having a good time.
Having a good time. Yeah, the love of the sport, the love of the game.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, transitioning into baseball, um, this is the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues, and Major League Baseball making a big deal about it right now.
Yeah.
And one of the things a lot of people don't know is that one of the the founders of Negro League Baseball was a guy from St. Croix named Cas Govan. He was
Cascovan.
Cas Govan, yeah. He was one of the founders of Negro League Baseball, the Elite Giants. And what made him special versus a lot of the other uh, baseball team owners and managers and stuff like that is that with a lot of basically it was barnstorming. You know, you as long as you had 9 people, you had a baseball team you would play.
Yeah.
But it was kind of hard to coordinate games because people would come and go all the time. You know, they didn't have set contracts. So if you needed some money, you might complete 3 or 4 games with a team and then move on. Cuss was the first to say, I'm going to sign you for a 1 year contract. So to make this team more consistent in what we're doing and to make it more fair and equitable to everybody, you know, let's sign you to a 1 year contract. That way, you know, you got a steady paycheck coming in, and we know we could count on you to play second base or third base or whatever every night.
Yeah.
So that was the big plus that he brought to the game. The second person would be Alfonso Gerard, and he was the only Virgin Islander to actually play in the Negro Leagues. And one of the things that's really, really interesting about Alfonso Gerard is that, and this is very, very unofficial, but it is said that Branch Rickey from the Dodgers, when he was looking for a player to break the color barrier, Alfonso Gerard was one of the people on the short list.
Okay.
Okay. And he liked everything that he see from Gerard, but he ended up going with Jackie Robinson instead. And no, we don't know enough about all the specifics, partly because even when Branch Rickey were doing this, he kept it a secret from everybody because he didn't want all the commotion and everything around it. So whoever all he were looking at, everything was very much hush hush and down low. But
Okay. Yeah.
it is believed that Alfonso Gerard was one of the people considered to be the first black person in the major leagues. And I actually have Alfonso Gerard autograph.
Wow.
Oh, let me get it here. Yeah,
Okay.
Alfonso
Yeah.
Gerard.
And that's his. Is that a
This
that?
is his signature. Yep. That's one of the many things in my collection. But one of the other things that's really impressive about this man, well, about Al Virginals, not just him, but you know,
Yeah.
we're on the spot right now. In 1954 and 1955, in Puerto Rico, they had a baseball team named the Santurce Cangrejeros.
Yes. And yep.
And that team is said was one of the greatest teams ever. Whether it's a major league team or just a Puerto Rican baseball team. But in a book that they brought out called La Máquina Perfecta, the perfect machine, this said this was the best team ever, won championship after championship. Got people on this team like Willie Mays and stuff like that. And on this team, if you look at it, they have 3 Virgin Islanders: Alfonso Gerard, Lionel Richards, and then Valmy Thomas.
I mean, Thomas. Wow, man. 19. That's a 1954, 1955.
Yep.
Wow.
And like I said, a lot of people
Man.
from the VI play in the Puerto Rican League, and you could tell you spend some time in the Puerto Rican League also. You know
Yeah.
how big you know the Cangrejeros is. You know that's their team. You know, but
Yeah.
you know, and I guess a little bit later you could tell us a little bit about your time and stuff like that in the Puerto Rican League. But
Puerto Rico
a
League.
lot
Yeah.
of Virgin Islanders in the off season would play there and stuff like that. But across the board, baseball and the Virgin Islands, huge ties. Everybody from Valmy Thomas, like I said, Horace Clark, Alvin McBean. And Alvin McBean, man, like I say, he's one of the people kind of also get me into collecting because one time I was over at the house and I went in the living room and he had a big vase full of baseballs. And I remember going over and looking at him and I just reading the names, you know, Roberto Clemente, Willie Mays, you know, Willie Stargell, Mickey Mantle, all these
Wow.
people that he had played with. And for me, it kind of validated my collecting because if he's a major leaguer, he's a grown man, and he collecting, can he impress? Then it make okay, maybe it's okay for me to collect, too.
Yeah.
So, so that's a big part of my collecting right there, you know. So, as far as collecting is concerned, and baseball, they kind of go hand to hand, because when the islands were purchased in 1917, up until then everything was Danish. So playing
Okay.
cricket and stuff like that was normal. But then when you become American, then you start to want to do everything like Americans. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first things is Babe Ruth on a baseball card, Lou Gehrig on a baseball card, Ty Cobb on a baseball card,
Baseball. Yeah.
all these people on baseball cards. So even though you didn't have TV to watch them, you had the little collectibles to go along with it to tell the stories. Like, okay, Hungary, not Hungary, but Babe Ruth had another great year. Lou Gehrig had this kind of year, that kind of year, and it just tell the story. So, like I said, the collecting piece just a natural outflowing of it. As far as collectibles are concerned, the number one collectible for a Virginal athlete by far is Tim Duncan. It has more stuff out there that made in the image of Tim Duncan than anybody else. Um, the second most I would say is probably Jerry Brown, who also from St. Croix. Man, I taken up everybody in here from St. Croix. What going on? I gonna start
We
naming only St. Thomas people soon. But anyhow,
we have to do what we
so
have to do, man. That's what it is. Yeah.
but Tim Duncan deserves props because
Yeah.
just the
Definitely.
level of greatness. Jerry Brown, he has so many collectibles because he come along in a point between the 80s and 90s when the collecting hobby was just enormous. Everything they could put on a collectible, they were putting on a collectible.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna move my iPad or camera just a second to show you something. I have a few Tim Duncan things I want to show everybody. So I have probably
Jeez.
I probably have about 1,000 items, and
That's
what you're
amazing.
looking at here is probably I don't know 30, 40
Yeah.
items.
That's yeah. Wow.
So it ain't much there, but that to just give you a feel for some what it have out there. But so this is a binder with just Tim Duncan cards,
Oh, Tim Duncan only?
just Tim Duncan only. All
Jeez.
right. So that's about another 300 or 400, and all them individual. Two of anything is all individual.
Man.
So say tons and tons of collectibles are made, and just to give you a feel for the different types of things that they have, everything from Coke cans to I have here. This is Forrest Clark on some like Coke bottles and
Oh,
Fresca bottle top. You used to pop the little Coke bottles off, yeah. Coke and
man.
Fresca with
Wow. That's man.
yeah,
I wish I
the
could have been
first
at one of
one.
those.
Okay, if you want to learn how to box, Sugar Ray Seals and a old fashioned cassette, or Emil Griffith on a VHS cassette. They have everything out there.
Man.
And then we even have movies of this cat. You might
Yeah.
know Tegan and the Iran job.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Real quick, Tegan is the reason Tegan couldn't make it because of the storm last night. It messed up his yard and knocked down some of his tent and stuff. So he's attending to that. So get that out there
yeah,
for my big brother. Because when he come on, he probably gonna get at me for not informing the public.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
he's so passionate and he loves the podcast. So definitely, I wanted to get that out to the public and everybody watch it. But can
So
can you show that picture one more time with Tegan the
no,
Iran job yeah, so they could see it. I kind of interrupted a little bit.
okay. So I have this. This is the actual DVD of the
Nice.
movie that I make about him, which is basically a story about him being from the Virgin Islands and being an American, going to play basketball in the country of Iran, and all the cultural differences and everything they had to deal with.
Yeah.
to be successful and the kind of year that the team had.
He
I
needs
think
to
it's
sign
time.
that. He needs to sign that for you.
I know, right?
Yeah, we gotta make that happen. He got to sign
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So far, I mentioned 2 giveaways. We got one more. So the great Tim Duncan magazine from Sports Illustrated. Let's see what year this was. 2007. If you're interested, send in the questions, send in the comments, and like I say, Mama gonna decide, who got a prize, and I'm gonna send something up for you, just a little something.
They
You know?
don't make. I think they stopped make Sports Illustrated, correct, the magazines, or I want to say they're about to stop making it. If I'm not mistaken, I thought I read
Yeah,
something.
so many things going e-delivery only now.
Yeah,
It's just that it's just too expensive to print. It's too expensive to mail stuff out. And right now everybody mobile. It's like,
yeah.
you know, yeah,
So that
that's
makes
the very
that even more valuable to the fact that they're gonna do away with the Sports Illustrated copies and stuff. So
yeah.
it makes that
Yeah,
more
so
valuable.
like I say, I have some giveaways. Like I said, the Horace Clark, the Julian Jackson. Now I got a little Tim Duncan here. Like I say, if anybody's sending in any questions or comments or anything, just please feel free to jump in at any point in time so we could,
We have a
give some
we have a
feedback.
question. We have a question up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have it on the screen here, but I'll read it to you. What made you go into collecting? Collecting all those things, those
I,
valuable.
I think the collecting start when my father would come home from the Olympics with all the pins. You know what I mean? Because he would leave the house with nothing but excitement. And then he would come back. And the only way to get a pins, you couldn't buy them. You know what I mean? You have to connect with somebody and make them want to trade or share with you. And
Yeah,
that was an interesting thing because for every pin that he had, he couldn't tell me what a pin them or what. But he could tell me the person, the athlete, how they performed. Did they win? Did they lose? Were they famous? Were they just, a regular person or whatever? And
yeah,
for me, that real side of sports was what kind of interests me because trust me, of all the collectibles that I have, some of the Tim Duncan stuff have good value, but
yeah,
most of the stuff don't have no big value. The value is in the story that it tell and the fact that it helped me understand my Virgin Islands people that much better. So through the collectibles, it helped me to understand how they were doing. So say for example, if I looking at, and I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, this Elrod Hendricks. Okay, when he
yeah,
was playing ball in the Mexican League, they used to call him the Babe Ruth of Mexico. Well, when you first think of Elrod Hendricks, if you Google him, you're gonna pull up and you're gonna say, okay, he played 28 years with the Orioles. He win the World Series as a player. He win a World Series as a coach, and that's it. I want if he was still alive, I could talk to him. I want him to tell me about when you were in Mexico, what I would like. You know what I mean? Tell
yeah,
me about when you were riding the bus. Tell me about when you weren't making no money. Tell me about the jokes and the games that I used to put. That's what I want to
yeah,
hear and feel. And that's why to connect with. Not so much, buying Michael Jordan rookie card because it worth $1 million. I could care less. You know what I mean? My story of my father not letting Jordan use the phone worth more to me than having his card. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Or a pair of his shoes. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
You could actually
I
connect to the
Yeah,
actual story.
the piece of item connect me to the story,
Yeah,
not so much the value. The first anytime I sometimes you just have to buy stuff just because that's the only way to get. You know what I mean? Sometimes athletes will give you stuff. Um, about I hate to date myself, but man, it's probably 25, 30 years ago. I sit down one day, I had find a book that had addresses to old Negro League players, and I write letters to about 30 different Negro Leaguers, and I get back like 20 autograph. I got Minnie Manuso, I got Eugene Baker, I got a whole bunch of people. Um, I even get back. I have a Rosa Parks autograph.
A Rosa Parks
Rosa
autograph.
Parks, write me back.
Wow.
Rosa Parks, write me back. I just write a letter. I say, hey, I inspired by you, blah, 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 blah. You know, I'd love to have your autograph. And then however many weeks, however many months later, boom, it show up in the mail.
I got,
I,
I got. Let me interrupt you real quick.
mm,
It's, I mean, this is amazing.
no,
This is amazing.
the thing is, you just didn't think about it. You didn't do it. What's stopping you right now from picking up a piece of paper and writing to somebody, anybody, and say, hey, this is what inspired me about you, or I'd like
Yeah,
to learn more about you. Talk to me. And they'll respond to you.
they
Man,
respond to you.
I had a guy named Guy Bluford, the first black astronaut. I had all kind of people tell me he was like a token black person and a sellout and all these kind of things. I write this man and you write me back. And he sent me pictures and he sent me patches. And I don't know if any of these patches fly in space, but he sent me patches and all kind of thing. He said, hey,
Yeah,
Rico, hey, I just want to let you know, I hear you, I understand, blah, 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 blah. Write me a whole letter and things like that. The man, without getting into too much naughty, I even got a letter from Mr. Rogers, the man. I posted like, probably, when he passed away, I posted a letter. Mr. Rogers write me a letter back.
yeah. It's doing during them times. Those type of people, those people, you if you want, you could call them celebrities. Those athletes and stuff. They would write back, but in today's generation, it's not
Yeah, the
a lot of
secretary gonna write you back. No.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
or somebody might not even respond.
yeah.
And it's easier to actually write there because they have Facebook platform, they have Twitter, they have Instagram. They have all those different TikToks and all those different. So you could actually engage and communicate with them a lot more easier, and some of them
Well, I'm
probably
gonna
won't even
tell
take the
you,
time.
when they're in the height of their fame, me ain't care who you is, they ain't gonna write you back.
Okay.
You gotta let that fame settle down a little bit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like in 80s and 90s, if you had to write Mike Tyson, 0% chance of getting anything back.
Yeah.
You write them back, you write them when you were in jail, you were gonna get an answer. That's one thing I wish I'd write it when you were in jail. I never did. I had the address, but I didn't write it. I should have said him. I should have write them one. But yeah, man, it's like the first thing I do whenever I get something that have a price tag, I rip it out. Cause me want to think about how much it costs or how much it worth. You know,
Yeah.
the most talk for a second moment. I want to grab something to show you.
No, yeah. Everybody who's tuning in, man, you guys witnessing, if you want to say you guys witnessing history, man. This is amazing. Some of the stuff he got, and just his mindset was able to write, those different type of people. For him to have an autograph of Rosa Parks, that's amazing. And for her to take the time to write him back, that's even more amazing too, as well, man. So I appreciate everybody tuning in and everybody watching and everybody, engaging in the comments and stuff like that. This is a history lesson, man, and it's important. And I'm in shock. I'm in awe. So it's amazing. I can't stop saying amazing. I said it like 100
All
times.
right, all right,
Chucky Robinson.
okay. 1947. That's the rookie year. This ball gets signed when he went in spring training.
Rookie
Before
year.
before he even played his first game. That's the most valuable piece I have.
That's valuable.
But I only care about the story behind it. Me care
Yeah.
about the value. You know what I mean?
And that's the most important thing is the story. Is the
Is the
story.
story behind it? Is the people behind it?
Yeah. I have a question from a viewer, and I was gonna ask this question too, but I'll just ask this now, and then we could get back into the Jackie Robinson, that ball
But
before
we
his
talking
rookie.
VIP people, and that's why I didn't want to bring that out. You know what I mean? I didn't
Yeah,
want to
but
pull too far away from us. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
yeah,
but
Jackie's a big
it's
deal.
about it's about your passion
Yeah,
that
yeah.
so it's about your passion and dedication, to the multiple different sports,
Yeah,
but
because
you rep.
let me tell you, Virgin Islanders, back in the day, you either a Dodger fan, a Pirates fan, or a Yankee fan. And you're a Dodger fan because of Jackie Robinson and because they were bringing all these black people and people from the VI on board. If you're a
Yeah,
Pirates fan, it was because of Clemente and all the VI people. If
VI
you're a
people,
Yankee
yeah,
fan, it's just that everybody in the world is a Yankee fan. You know what I
fun,
mean?
yeah, that's true. We got this question here. Are you going to pass down your collect? Who are you going to pass your collectibles down to?
Let me tell you, like I talk with Rashidi who own the mill in St. Thomas, and he have a
Yeah,
ton of collectibles also. Um, Man, the collection just keep growing. It seems like you can't stop it from growing, because you keep finding cool things, and then the challenge is to find somebody behind you that have that similar passion. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's true.
You could always find people that want it for the monetary value would, but ultimately, man, I would love to donate all of this to like a Virgin Islands Sports Hall of Fame. And me and Mamba were talking about this a while back. How in the book that I write, Rescuing Virgins, I list about 100 Virgin Islands athletes that have excelled to the heights. We have X number. Man, hold on. Let me check something here. We have three people that win World Series. We have two people that won NBA championships. Two people that won NFL championships. We have six people that win Olympic medals, and we have uh, three world champion boxers. We have three people, two people in the Hall of Fame. Tim Duncan gonna be the third one. And where you could go in the Virgin Islands to see and acknowledge and recognize these people? No place.
No place, that's true.
No place. I show you Peter Jackson, who been doing this since the 1800s, to the height, the top of his sport, all the way down to right now. You got Kimba Walker. His mother went from St. Croix. He playing for the Celtics and he killing in basketball. You have John Collins with the Atlanta Hawks. He doing good. His brother
Yeah,
from St. Croix as well. And you got Nick Claxton.
with
He with
Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn. Exactly.
Yeah,
Actually, Nick Claxton, his father, Charles Claxton, was the first Virgin Islander ever to play in the NBA.
NBA.
Well, actually, Butch Lee was from the Virgin Islands. His story is similar to Valmy in that his parents went to Puerto Rico to have the boy and then come back. So Butch Lee was actually the first Virgin Islander to play in the NBA. But
Okay.
for the most part, we have all these incredible athletes. We have this incredible story to tell, and no place to show it, no place to display it. We were talking about, maybe the new facility in St. Croix, in Frederickstead. Maybe that might be a great place for them to find some space to display some of these things. Because, you have Virgin Islands children out there right now, 5, 6, 7 years old, or 12, 13, 14 years old. And you hear people telling them, be realistic. You ain't never going to be a baseball player. You ain't never going to be a basketball player. You ain't never going to be a great boxer. Well, the odds are against them, right? But then again, the odds are also against getting hit by two Category 5 hurricanes in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
We have more than 100 people from the Virgin Islands that have excelled to the highest levels,
yeah,
and we don't talk about it. You
yeah,
don't see this in any other city, any other town, any other place. We
yeah,
have it right here, but we don't even talk about it. A Virgin Islands Sports Hall of Fame would be an incredible thing. Now, with that being said, me and the first person come up with that idea. There's actually been about 3 or 4 different sports Hall of Fames for the Virgin Islands. But what tends to happen is, whether it's in the 1940s, the 1960s, the 1980s, wherever, you have a bunch of people come together that have a passion for sports, have a passion for the Virgin Islands, and they say, okay, let's have a sports Hall of Fame. Let's elect a whole committee of people that are going to vote, and we're going to nominate some people, and we're going to have Emil Griffith, and we're going to have this person, we're going to have that person, and we have a big dinner, we'll get them a plaque, and we do all them things, and then 2 weeks later, you still don't have a facility. You don't
yeah,
have anything that's permanent. You don't have, Cooperstown in for baseball. You don't have Canton, Ohio, like for baseball. You don't have I forget what the place is in New York for the Boxing Hall of Fame. We
yeah.
don't have that. And
We don't have
because
it.
we
Yeah,
don't have that, what happened is 5 years after, 10 years after, 20 years after that first Hall of Fame class, you got a bunch of people come together and say, hey, I have a great idea. Let's have a sports Hall of Fame, and let's have Emil Griffith, and let's have blah, 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 blah. and all the same people get inducted again. The same people that get inducted and had dinner one time, you buy them dinner again the second time and get them another plaque and still
Yeah,
don't have a place to display. And it's one of the things where it's a shame, you know.
it is a
Um,
shame.
it's
We-
great that, you know, we have a place like in St. Thomas where we have the Cal Education Square where they have, you know, 3 statues up there for different, you know, Virgin Islanders that have done great things. But statues in the Virgin Islands are rare things. Hall of
Very rare.
Fame, unheard of. And let me tell you, I've been to a lot of small towns in America, and all of them have a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they all have a Hall of Fame. They all
All of
they,
them
they
have a
all
Hall
have a
of
fame.
Fame. And for
Let
athletes much lesser, much less capable, much less accomplished than all Virgin Islands athletes, and we have nothing, you
we have
know.
nothing. We
We
have
would.
a viewer question here. Sorry
Mhm.
to interrupt. We got a
No,
viewer
no, go ahead.
question. Yeah. Have you ever made a proposal to the VI legislator for a sports museum to preserve all this sports knowledge and artifacts and in your possession?
You know, one of the senators, no, I haven't, but one of the senators now who have a really strong passion for sports and passion for youths is Atnell Bobby Thomas. And we played ball when we were small, so I know we share the same passion. He know about me and he know what I have and what I want to do. But it's his first term, so it's one of those things where you have a lot of promises that you have to keep and a lot of work that you have to do, and you have to prove yourself first. So what I do is I just giving him and the others some time to, you know, figure out what they want to do. And then coming out for hurricanes, it really, we don't have a lot of funding for stuff
Yeah,
like this. We got to get our tourism back up and running. But ain't nothing saying, you know, Sports Hall of Fame for Virginians can be a part of tourism, because I think if we had something like this, locals would go and tourists would go to see what we have to offer. Because trust me, our story is an incredible story, and like I said, once people see it, then they'll really come to appreciate. Because trust me, a lot of the athletes from the Virgin Islands, we already have in Hall of Fames and museums and stuff like that. It's just that none of them located in the Virgin
in the
Islands.
Virgin Islands.
You
Yeah,
know, like the
that's true.
boxer Jack Johnson, famous black boxer. He went all the way to Australia just to go visit Peter Jackson cemetery after he had died, and they have the inscription on there. He said, "Here lies a man." No, he said, "This was a man." Is the words that he say about him. You know, but yeah, people travel from all over to come and meet our athletes and stuff like that. Every year for the Boxing Hall of Fame, tons of people will want to get Emil Griffin autograph, and now tons of people gonna want Julian autograph. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, if you want to see us, come to us.
Yeah,
You don't need to go Florida and New York and all these different places. I from the VI, come see me here, come see where I'm from. When I hear stories from people like Alvin McBean that say, I started playing baseball with a mango seed. We ain't had no baseball. You know what I mean? That's the kind
yeah,
of thing stick with me. When I listen to Horace Clark talk about every kid on our team had to be able to bat left and right hand, because sometimes you had to bat left hand, because if you bat right hand, you'd hit the ball, it would go in the water, and the game done. So everybody
yeah,
had to learn to bat left and right. That's a VI thing. You will never see that in the States. But in
yeah,
the VI, if you don't want to lose your ball, you got to learn to switch hit. That's a skill set that only we have. You know what I mean?
yeah. We have a question here. Who are the Virgin Islands Hall of Famers?
From which class? Like I said, because every time they announce a class, it only lasts, it was only on paper, and then it disappeared
Then it disappeared.
whenever that group disband. And then the new Hall of Fame say,
It's the
okay,
same name.
these are the people we're going to elect, and we're going to have a big ceremony and a dinner with steak and lobster, and then that disappeared. Now, me and Mama, before the show started, we started talking about if there was such a thing as a Mount Rushmore of
Yeah,
a Sports Hall of Fame. And this is when we really need the audience to chime in. Come on, we got some arguments going here. So we got 4 heads, right? And I personally think I know what 3 of them is. The last one open for debate. Okay, Tim Duncan, we know for sure gonna get 100% vote. he gonna be on the Mount Rushmore. Emil Griffith, like a 5 or 6 time world champion, boxing Hall of Famer, he got to be on there. I thinking Elrod Hendricks from baseball. The man spent 28 years in a major league uniform.
It's a long time.
Win a championship as a player, win a championship as a coach. He have to be on there. So now we only got room for one more. Mamba, is that gonna be your statue up there?
No.
who gonna be the last one up there?
That's not gonna be my statue.
Or have the listeners give us some suggestions of who we think would be a good fourth person to run out the Mount Rushmore. Give me some of your thoughts.
Hey, everybody who watch it, jump in the chat. See who I think should be the fourth, head at the Mount Rushmore.
Or if you think one of my suggestions is bad, give me 2 names. And who you gonna swap out? I would love to hear that.
Me I don't know who I would put, but let me see. If I have to pick somebody, it would probably be me personally. It'll probably be Elmo Plaskett.
Let me tell you, Elmo is an interesting story. When he gets signed, and they had a guy named Clyde Sukford. He was a scout that discovered Jackie Robinson. He's the scout that discovered Roberto Clemente. Matter of fact, if you look at old pictures of Roberto Clemente, he in a Dodgers uniform. Not in a Pirates uniform, in a Dodgers uniform.
Yeah, Dodgers.
When he come to St. Thomas, Clyde Sukford would scout. He scout Joe Christopher and Elmo Plaskett. Elmo Plaskett ended up going and playing with the Pirates, and he used to play alongside Clemente as well. But the two that were tightest with Clemente were Joe Christopher, because that was Clemente's roommate, and Al McBean. And they were so close that when Al McBean get married in Puerto Rico, Clemente was the best man in the wedding.
Wow.
But Elmo Plaskett do a lot, not as much on the field, but after his playing days, he do a lot for Virgin Islands sports and cheering in the Virgin Islands. My challenge with him is I don't think he do enough while as a player. I know he do a lot after, but while he was a player, I don't know if he do enough to make the Hall of Fame.
We have Harris Clark.
Okay.
And
okay.
I'm gonna be honest too. That was my second after Elmo Plaskett. And there's a reason why I picked those two. I'll say real quick. The reason why I picked those two is because these is people that I could actually have a conversation with. Yeah. Like when I was playing baseball, Harris Clark would always be at the games. He always come to the practice, or he always be the talking with G-Nix. And with Elmo Plaskett is because I picked him first just because the Little League was named after him. And then he actually had a team. He coached me one year and he took a team to Orlando. But that's the reason why I picked him. You see? But like his JD Clark said that Harris Clark played in the most games in the major leagues. You see? No, this
that's
why
chiming in.
Yeah. No, hail up to JD, big up to JD. The reason why, and that's to show like my lack of knowledge and history of the Virgin Islands, that I don't even know Harris Clark played in the most games in the major leagues. And I'm a baseball guy, and I don't even know that. So that's to show like my history and knowledge is not even up to par, So that's why it's important having this platform and having you on. So and even having like JD and Dwayne and Derek and all the other people will be involved that be dropping names.
Yeah,
so like,
man, let me tell you,
to introduce to us.
I love Horace Clark and JD. I want you to see something. There's a caricature of your father here.
Wow.
Okay.
That's unbelievable.
They make that for him. Just one of the many little collectible things that I have. But I love Horace Clark. The only challenge was he come along at a time in history when the Yankees just didn't win any World Series. And a lot of people judge the Yankees just like they were judging A-Rod real hard if he didn't win a world championship. And the whole time that Horace Clark with it, and I hate that they call it this. That they call it the Horace Clark era, because that's the period of time in between. They had Mickey Mantle, Maris, and they were winning all these championships, and they were great. And then in the late 60s, 70s, they just were kind of okay, you know?
Yeah.
And then they get great again. It's like, man, you know, he was so close, you know what I mean? But those were, it's like Horace Clark play up until like when Reggie Jackson get to the Yankees. And that's when they start getting good again. You know what I mean?
So,
I
so,
guess,
so
go ahead.
playing with playing with the Yankees with Horace Clark, he kind of got put from listening to you, it seems like he got put in a difficult situation just because there was the dynasty, and then when it was his time, you know, they kind of went downhill. It's not his fault, but
Yes,
playing for the
yes,
Yankees
yes.
and you
Yeah.
being one of those type of players like Horace Clark, it kind of puts pressure on you. But you know, everybody knows baseball is so much it takes to win, and
And
then
you know,
by
you are light hitting second baseman, and you playing good defense is what I'm telling you. You know what I mean? You leading the league in double plays and great fielding percentage. You doing all the things you're supposed to be doing, but if you don't win a championship, you're under that microscope in New York where they don't cut you no slack. You know what I mean? So he did everything right, man.
no,
He
yeah,
could not do any more. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So some
like Derek,
people, it could have been flip flop because he played close to the same kind of years as Elrod Hendricks, but Elrod Hendricks were there with Brooks Robinson, with Jim Palmer, and those kind of guys. So he ended up winning, you know, a couple of championships.
you had a better team, yeah,
I just missed them. But man, no knock at Horace at all, man. And he very well could be the fourth head and Mount Rushmore.
yeah.
It's,
Like Derek Will said, to have a Yankees era name after him speaks volumes, which is
yeah,
true. You know, it
exactly,
speaks
exactly.
volumes.
They call
Yeah,
it the Horace Clark era, you know, and it's because he would have consistent, he would have rocked. He held everything together during that period of time, and they could only make it, you know, so far. It's kind of like when the Atlanta Hawks had Dominique Wilkins. You know, he was great, but you know, had this other guy named Jordan, and that kind of
yeah.
screw you there a little bit, you know.
Plus, playing for the Yankees, all
Yeah,
they want is wins. They like you said, like with the era, the killing era, like they want wins. They want to see championships. So
exactly.
playing for them is a lot of pressure. You know, is a lot of pressure because you see, man, the Yankees fans ain't no joke. So I just
Yeah.
can't imagine, you know, what Harris Clark went through and stuff like that, following that era of those great Hall of Famers and him coming in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing, man. That's amazing. You
Yeah.
know.
Before I forget, I have to give a shout out to a guy named Rory Costello. He wrote a book a number of years back called
Oh
Baseball
wow.
Originals or Eastern Outpost. It was the first time somebody stopped and say, "Hey, we got something going on here. We need to take a look at." And he wrote a book about Virgin Islands baseball players, and the not a source out there, nothing else other than my book, which, like I said, encompass all the athletes, not just baseball. But want to give a shout out to Rory because, like I said, he really put some
Yeah.
hard work into, and like I said, to be the first to recognize us was a big deal, you know.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
Yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, I still a friend on Facebook. I probably should have had him come join us.
Yeah, hopefully we could. Yeah, hopefully I would like to get another episode that maybe you and him could come and come on together and give us another history lesson and
Yeah,
get more in depth. As yeah, because it's so because you know like you spreading those you know some information on Harris Clark and stuff. You know, it's amazing. You know because you're older than his son. You know, I know his family knows a lot, but you're older than his sons them and stuff like that. And I hope I'm not speaking out of place when you think like
nah,
that.
nah.
It's more like an example that you guys follow him. Like your dad was around when he was young, and so you know you have a lot of knowledge, and then you have the collectibles, and you have a lot of stuff. So it'd be good just to spread knowledge and a lot of the athletes that's
Yeah,
not here to kind of represent themselves, and maybe some of their family members, you know, kids and stuff might be a little too young to
yeah,
see them play, etc. So you know, it's important to us and everybody that's tuning in as well too, because we talk about history and we talking about giving back and stuff like that. But in order for us to move forward, we have to recognize our history and the people that paved the way for us.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only way we could understand the importance of the Virgin Islands. And just this discussion that you're having right now, and you present it to us and stuff like it, just shows how much far along we should be right now today, and we're not. You know, so that's why it would be interesting to have you and him on, and you guys give us more information and knowledge and stuff like that, because you have a collectible, and I know it's so much you could talk about. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So hopefully we could get that happen. We could make that happen. So that's why.
All right. Well, you had a great time, talking with you tonight, and maybe it's definitely something we could, have a part two or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a few sports we didn't talk too much about, like football and horse racing. Those are the two other areas that we also excel in. Horse racing. We have Julio Felix, that's won over 3,000 races. We have uh, Krieger that run in the Kentucky Derby with Victor LeBron. Horse racing have deep, deep roots in the Virgin Islands going back to the 1700s. And it's good to see, people like him still out there, still making big things happen. I know there have been some challenges lately in the horse racing area regarding, the safety of the horses. And there was a period of time where, especially at like Santa Anita, a lot of the horses were dying and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that sport is evolving just like everything else is evolving. And even just women in Virgin Islands sports. Maybe we can even set up a time to talk just about some of the
I
women.
would love that too. Yeah.
People like Megan Hodge. A lot of people never heard that name. My partner, Joel Harrigan, is the one who put me on to her. One of the greatest volleyball players out there, and she's still playing. I don't remember what team she played for, but she's like one of the FIBA world champions. Gabrielle Reese, she also played volleyball, but she played more like the beach volleyball version. That's the one you see them in the sun actually playing. She was like topping the wall. You have a young guy right now that's getting big in pool. You have a lot of women that are skiers and stuff like that. A lady named Lakeisha Fret that used to play basketball.
Yeah.
Tombi Bell, Raja's sister. Just so many athletes out there, both male and female. Man, we could talk forever, but we got to break it down into smaller pieces so people could kind of digest it and take it in.
Yeah, that's true.
Whether it's the collectible piece where you just like the thing because of the value, or the thing because of the story behind it, or just because you're repping the VI. It's one of those things where it's something fun to do. And again, before I leave, we got a couple of giveaways: the Horace Clark autograph, the Julian Jackson flyer, and the great Tim Duncan poster. Mumbai, gonna let you decide how you want to give those out.
Yeah,
I'll hit me up and I'll mail them out to the people or wherever. But man,
yeah, I'll discuss it with Tegan and Pang, and we'll find a way, to make that happen.
Yeah. But like I said, man, just great talking with you. Great spending some time. Got a couple other obligations I gotta take care of right now. But my number one obligation today was to get on this podcast with you and help spread the word on how great our athletes are. And we still got more coming up. That's the thing. You don't just say we had great athletes. No, we still have them. They're still being born. They're still coming up. We just got to keep nurturing them and keep, motivating and inspiring them to do great things.
Yeah, yeah. This was mind blowing, man. This was mind blowing. I learned a lot, and I can't wait to learn some more.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. We could definitely break it up in segments. You could come on multiple times once you have time. And the other fella as well too. As we have a history lesson, man. Even a lot of people be in the chat and they have great memories and they be dropping names as well too. Like I said, I'm a virgin when it comes to the history of the Virgin Islands in sports, man. So it's a learning experience, and everybody, they just need to be recognized. A lot of people passed away and they wasn't recognized the way they should be recognized.
Yep.
And I feel like, this platform, and this can always be on YouTube as a platform. Anybody can always go and learn about their history. So you actually hearing it from, a lot of different people that witness history and stuff like that. It's just important to recognize the many athletes, that sacrifice their life at times,
Man,
to represent the country.
just here in Houston where he is, we got Lincoln Juice Gums. He's still coaching with the Sugarland Skeeters. That's a minor league baseball team here. We have a guy named Jason Langolier, who's an MMA fighter. We have Quentin Coriat. He used to be a football player. He's now like an inventor. He's working on a number of different projects and stuff like that. We have, matter of fact, some of the people from the Olympic team, the Olympic track and field team, they come here to train in Houston. So meet with some of the people here. Man, it's just awesome to see so many Virginals all over the place. And I show the people in Florida, in Atlanta, in DC, they could echo the same sentiment. Virginals athlete everywhere. You got my boy Juice, who doing a great job working with the boys, and the baseball team and helping all them get scholarships to continue playing and gain education at the same time. So big up to you, Juice. Want to make sure give you a shout out.
Yeah, big up to Juice. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So and even Ivan Williams, who I play ball with, also. He's not necessarily in sports right now, but he constantly telling people, listen, go out to the children parade, support the children. Come out to the Little League games, support the church. He always reinforcing the fact that, when we were small, they come out to support us. Now we got to do the same thing for them.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. When I play Little League, the parks used to always be packed.
I know, right?
Always.
Yeah. Let me ask you one last question before I let you go.
Yeah.
The first time you see your face on a baseball card, what I feel like? You're like, wow.
I was. It's like a priceless feeling, because when I was young, I used to collect baseball cards and basketball cards, and that was one of my dreams to play. My two dreams was to play on TV so people could see me, and get a card, a baseball card or a basketball card. At the first time, getting an opportunity to get a baseball card, it was like satisfaction, all the hard work, and I knew that the people that looked out for me, the people that sacrificed their time, like G-Nix and like G-Nix, Dean Haywood, Elmo Plaskett I used to talk to, Horace Clark used to come out, I would talk to him. A lot of the players there might look up to, like JD, Rasan Smith, Kareem Smith, Ray Bennett, George Bailey, Terry Byron, Rudolph Simmons, Marquis Rogers, Tyrone Lake, Neg. All the people that I play with and the people that I look up to and I admire, Dennis Brow as well too, baseball. And to see my face and it was just like a priceless moment. It was just like satisfaction. Like I achieved what I wanted to achieve. And I know I made the people them who inspire me and the people them that help me proud, and then I ended up just getting a bunch more, and then it was just like, natural, So
yeah, man, it just kind of take you away, right?
Yeah, it takes me away, man.
So let me ask you a question. Why will when you get this book, when I send you this book, and you open it up and you see that cat right in there?
That was an amazing feeling, because that's something that's gonna live on forever.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what's something gonna live on forever.
Your story, and never let people forget about the hard work you put in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just on the field, but after field, in this podcast, all these kind of things.
Yeah, and the reason why that too is the fact that when I'm looking through the book, I see Horace Clark, Elmo Parswick, you know what I'm saying? Alvin McBean,
You're in the same book with them.
I'm in the same book with them. And then I'm seeing somebody, I'm seeing Terry Barron. That's somebody that I was afraid to hit against. That was somebody I competed against. But so to see that, we equal,
in the book.
Yeah, so it's I'm with them, I'm a part of it. It's like, how they say the Hall of Fame is like a brotherhood. I feel like I'm a brotherhood with all those players that came before me, you know what I'm saying? So I know I made them proud,
Yeah.
I know I made them proud, and they know that they inspire me, and that's the most important thing. Whenever you leave and when it's your time is over, the most important thing is that once you could inspire somebody,
Yeah.
you know, that's gonna always live on because you inspire somebody and it's just gonna live on. Like Elmo Plasper, Harris Clark, and many other inspire me. And I have a son that plays, and I've talked to many kids. I've taught them different sports. That knowledge that I got from them, you know, G Next
Yes.
Haywood is gonna pass on to them. They're gonna pass it
Yeah.
on to somebody else. It's gonna always live on, you know.
Yeah,
And I
man.
think that's the most important thing.
Well,
Most
like I
important
say,
thing.
long before I ever meet you and talk to you that first time, I was inspired by you, and that's why I include you in the book. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And along with all these other people, some of the people from the 1800s that way before our time to the future generations coming along, we're trying to recognize all these people. But man, just thanks for all the time you spent on the field, the hard work you put in. Thanks for the
appreciate it.
time with this podcast to help, you know, remind everybody about Virginals athletes and stuff like that. And thanks for having me on the show, man. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. We'll keep in touch, and we like to set up. You know, we definitely once you have time, we like to set up another one, man. This was amazing, man.
All right,
Amazing,
man.
man. I
He gonna miss
appreciate you,
out,
man.
man. He miss out.
Yeah, next time
I
they
want to
gonna be
spend
there
more
next
time
time.
talking basketball. He miss out.
Yeah,
All
next
right,
time,
boss.
man. You know, next time. Much love, man. Much love. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah, man. You too, man. Yeah, man. So everybody, this is Rico Corneiro. This is his website right here. www.lulu.com/spotlight/R Corneiro. You know, you guys could he has different books too. He didn't really get into the other books, but he has more books as well too. So you guys could you know, copy this down and you know, save it as well too. You know, but this was a this hold on, I'm tripping up. This was a great you know, I call it a history lesson. This was a great history lesson. Tegan is in the book, by the way. Tegan is in the book. A lot of people is in the book. I have the book here. If you guys type in his name, you guys could can message him, contact him, man. You know, he has so many people in the book. He talks about his dad and everything, man. You know, it's great. I think the book should definitely be in it should be in all the schools. You know, every kid should get a chance to just see the many different athletes and stuff like that to inspire them. You know, I think that's important with this generation. You know, is that maybe a lot of the kids don't have a lot of people to be inspired by. You know, we got to do a better job of seeing the kids them face to face too. Like I said, I could talk to Harris Clark, I could talk to Elmo Plaskett. These is guys that I could actually talk to, shake their hand and stuff like that. And these was like role models. These guys made a lot of major impacts in the mainland, you know, playing sports and stuff. So, you know, I appreciate you guys tuning in, you know, getting a history lesson with me. You know, big up to everybody that asks questions and stuff like that. You know, good stuff to Rico. Yeah, man. Good stuff to Rico, man. This was definitely awesome. I would definitely put it on the Facebook page, you know, in the group page and stuff like that. You know. So we gonna definitely try and get another one, you know, a couple more, probably break it into like 4 segments, you know, so he could kind of get in depth with more of the sports. And we definitely would like to highlight the female athletes in the Virgin Islands. Definitely. We have Mona Barnes coming up Wednesday, 7 p.m. We have Mona Barnes, and then we have Lynn Liebert, her mom. I wrote her name